Welcome to Walking Out Your Purpose with yours truly, Alicia Smith, where we focus on you reaching your full potential in all areas of your life through intentional dialogue and putting in the work. Let's get motivated to action so that we draw closer to realizing our life's purpose as women of God, wives, mothers, and businesswomen. Now come on in and eavesdrop on a conversation with me and sometimes a few others as we discuss having faith over fear from the pew to the boardroom and everywhere in between. I'm glad you're here. Let's get to walking out our purpose and accomplishing all that God has for us. If you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. It's what I use each and every time I upload an episode for you. Let me explain. It's free. There are creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. And they will distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcast, and many more. You can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. Now, why don't you go download the Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. Welcome to the Walking Out Your Purpose podcast with yours truly, Alicia Smith. If you are a new listener, welcome. Stay a while. Please like, subscribe, share, follow, all the things. If you are returning to the podcast, welcome back. I'm so grateful, so thankful, so honored and privileged to have you a part of our family here at the Walking Out Your Purpose podcast. We are all on our journey to either discovering our purpose or continuing to walk in our purpose. And so we got this. With God, we can do all things. And so today I have a short episode for you all because guess what? I am getting ready for vacation. Yes, my husband and I are going on vacation because we are approaching our 12th year anniversary. And y'all, just give it up for the Mr. and the Mrs. here. For 12 years, God has blessed us, and we are going to a great place to just enjoy for a couple of days. And so check out our Facebook and of course YouTube and other channels as well, other avenues, because we'll be sharing where we're going for our anniversary, what we're up to, and all that good stuff. So that is coming your way as well. But I wanted to drop this episode before we get ready to depart on our trip this week, because I literally picked up one of my favorite books and to just get some motivation and inspiration so that I can record this podcast for you all. And that book is something that we talked about earlier in the season, and probably in season 1. We're in season 3 right now. But the book is called 100 Days of Believing Bigger. And you all, this book is such a blessing. I know some of you picked it up after I started talking about it, which is awesome. The author is Marshawn Evans Daniels. And again, it's called 100 Days of Believing Bigger. And I just opened it up to a random page. And you all... the Lord is like, this is the word for the day, because it just hit me so hard in my spirit because of my current situation, but also because it's just good stuff. But I'm going to share a little bit about, and this will be more of a little chit chat, you all. Usually I have all my notes and I usually am prepared in that way, but today we're going straight from the spirit. So this particular journal entry, if you will, because her book is like a devotional and it has a journal. And so this particular devotion is about security in God's promises. And you all, it's just so good. So I'm going to start with one of the scriptures that she provides. It says from Isaiah 55, 8 through 9. For my thoughts are not your thoughts, neither are your ways my ways. As the heavens are higher than the earth, so are my ways higher than your ways, and my thoughts than your thoughts. And she goes on to say, you all, In order for us to believe the promises of God, we have to trust first the character, the nature, and the unchanging essence of God. I'm going to pause right there for a second. You all know that on this platform, first of all, that we are spiritual, and we start everything that we do with acknowledging who God is, and that He is the person that leads us, that guides us, that directs us, that puts us on our path. The Bible tells us in Proverbs that we can plan, but God's purpose will prevail. And so we know that in all things that we endeavor to do, and in all things that we desire to do for purpose, it has to be rooted in God. That's where it all begins, and that's where it all will end. And so I love how she talks about in this particular part of the book that in order for us to even get to a place where we can move ahead, where we can put our one foot in front of the other, really, as we think about walking in our purpose, we have to trust God. We have to believe in His promises. And He's made so many promises to us. And guess what, you all? He never fails. And when we think about what it is that we want to accomplish, whether it is spiritual, whether it's in this world, and also called the secular world, or whether it's on our job, or whether it's with our community, what have you, because you all know when we talk about purpose, it's not just one area, it's in the whole aspect of our life, right? We want to be in purpose in everything that we do. And so when we think about what it is that God is calling us to do and to walk out on this earth, we have to remember who He is in our life. We have to start with Him. And most importantly, we have to trust in what He has already provided to us. And that is His word and those promises, right? And when we think about, she said, in order to trust and to believe in His promises, we have to trust that God has the best plans for us, you all. We know who He is because He's shown up every day. He's shown us over and over and over again who He is. And He's demonstrated for us His faithfulness. Thank you, Father, that He's shown us that. And so when we get to thinking about what it is that we want to do or need to do or feel that we have a calling to do, I want us to always reflect back. Is this in alignment with God? Does this make sense in His world? And when we realize that those things are aligned and we get to moving, the vastness, if you will, of God and His unchanging essence is going to be with us. And I just find that so encouraging, so motivating, so refreshing. I'm like on fire, y'all. Because I just love the fact that God's character, He's not like man, right? And so He won't fail us. And she goes on to say, which is even more evidence of this, she said, when God promises, He proves, He provides, and He follows through. Every purpose He has for you and I will stand. It cannot be thwarted. And every element of His plan will be fulfilled. How? That part is none of our business. Our job is to believe, to be obedient, and to step when and wherever He steers. So my sister, my brother who's listening to this podcast, what is God speaking to you? What is He sharing with you? What are people that He's working through as vessels? What are they putting before you? What is that opportunity? Are you going to be obedient? Are you going to listen? Are you going to allow God's promise to be fulfilled? Sometimes we have to get out of our own way. We have to get out of our own head. How God? Why God? Where God? We need to be obedient and not worry about the how, but think about the who. And the who is God. And that He would not steer you wrong. When you are in alignment with Him and His will, you'll never go wrong. Your purpose is to believe God and to act on His word. She says, lastly, this is a season that is going to require you to believe the promises of God like never before. You believe the blessing into being. Y'all, I promise y'all I'm about to shout in this car. Because I'm recording this in the car because y'all know I have children. And they won't let me do anything without disrupting. So, you all, she said, believe your blessing into being. Yes and yes. So I want to encourage you all as you are on your journey, as you're walking by faith, as you're walking in the light, as God is in the light, as you are helping, serving, inspiring others, if that's your gift, whatever your gift is, your blessing is in being. And so I want you all to just be what God is ordaining you to be, is calling you to be, is asking you to be, is expecting you to be. Because there is someone, as I always say, there is someone waiting on their blessing, but it's coming through you. So you got to get to moving. You got to get to walking. You got to get to crawling. Maybe you're at a crawling stage, and that's okay. But movement is important. And again, whatever it is that God is laying on your heart to do, remember the character. Remember the character of God. And that He is not going to do anything that would take you away from His word and what He said. He's always going to put you in a position when we're in alignment. Now that's the key. Now we got to be in alignment. We got to be in His will. But He'll never put you in a position that will go against His word. So I want to encourage you all on today, this week, whenever you're listening to this podcast, that there's security, as my girl says, in God's promises. And when you think about your prayers to God, especially about doing His will, about being in His will, I want you all to pray that your thoughts, that your will, that your purpose, that your plan is in alignment with His. Because when we are in that place, it's a secure place. And my husband, he preached such a good word today. It's October 10th when I'm recording this, so if you have a chance, I want you to go back and listen to the service, the 7:30 a.m. service, Hope Church of Christ. You can find it on YouTube, Facebook, hopechurchofchrist.org. And he talked about I'm covered. And y'all, what a word it was. But one of the things he talked about was Psalms 91, where the Bible talks about us dwelling in that secret place. And that when we are in God's shadow, that He covers us. And so I want to push you, I dare say, into His shadow, into His sight, into His covering, and into His will. So that whatever you put your hand to will be blessed. Whatever you put your hand to will be multiplied. Whatever you put your hand to will flourish, will grow, will develop. Because I truly, truly believe in God and what He said in His word. And that His word will not return unto Him void. And that when we submit, when we truly, truly submit to His will, the world can change. your life can change. My life has changed for the better. And I want to leave you with this personal story, and then I'll get out of your way. When I thought about what this particular devotion talked about, when she said that every purpose he has for you will stand, it cannot be thwarted, I thought about my current situation. And for those of you who know, I entered a new position back in April, and it is a global role. And so you all, I have been thrown into such a vast and impactful though, but just a vast role with the level of responsibility, the number of stakeholders, just the scope of the role is large. But God is taking me to another level, you all. And I am trusting, I am being, as she talked about, I know that I'm in the will of God and that I'm going to make such an impact because of Christ, of course, through me in the workplace. And so no matter what's thrown at me, no matter how tough the days may get, how long they may be, I am trusting in God's promises that we will not put more on me than I can bear, and that I'm more than a conqueror, and that I can do all things through Christ Jesus who gives me the strength. That I am a child of God, that I am peculiar, that I am beautiful and wonderfully made. Come on, y'all. The promises of God. We have to rehearse those things in our mind when the days get tough. When we know we are in our calling, it's not going to always be easy. But I want us to always come back to who put us here. And whom are we going to follow? Whom are we going to listen to? Who are we going to let us guide us? Well, for me, it's God. And I'm just so thankful to God, even for this difficult, challenging, robust role that I'm in right now. Because I know on the other side of this, lives will actually be changed in this role. And my purpose, his purpose, ultimately, is going to be fulfilled. So let this be encouragement to you. You got this, my brother, my sister. You're on the right path. You're in God's will. Remind yourself of his promises. Remind yourself of his character. Remind yourself that he's a provider, that he's a rewarder of them that diligently seek him. Remind yourself that he didn't put you here by mistake, that it is all in divine order. And I pray today that you realize the magnitude of your calling, the vastness of your mantle, and that you walk boldly in your calling. That you don't worry about the naysayers, you don't worry about the darts, that you don't worry about the challenges, that you exhibit peace through it all. That you exhibit God's faithfulness and his love and his everything that he is to us. I pray that you're able to demonstrate that even under a challenge. I'm doing it. So guess what? You can do it too. All right, y'all. So I want you all to be blessed. Again, this was all literally from the dome. This was all from the Spirit. Nothing written down. So y'all have to excuse me if it wasn't up to par with the other episodes. But it was just so heavy when I read that, you all. I literally opened the book and it was right there on God's promises. And it just hit me because of I know how important it is to remind ourselves of whom we serve. Right? Because God is a big God. And so when we believe bigger, we will be able to accomplish even more for his kingdom, first and foremost. and even more for this world. And so I pray that you all be blessed. Please, please, please send your prayers our way. We're getting ready to go out of town for our anniversary. So we're praying God's covering for traveling grace. We're praying for our children's safety and that they're all well when we return. We're thankful for our aunt that's coming to take care of them while we're gone. And so we're thankful for, again, God just showing up and showing out and allowing us to be able to get this time away to rejuvenate, to rekindle, to refocus, all the re's so that we can come back and be a blessing to others. I'm so thankful for my husband, for his support, for his leadership, his guidance, his love. And I'm grateful for the 12 years that we've been together. So you all, I could not do this podcast without my husband's support. He's at home right now keeping the kids so that I can be in the car and record this episode. So I can't do anything without him. I'm so thankful for him and his sacrifice, his kindness, his love for me. So you all keep the Mr. in prayer as well. And Lord willing, we will be recording for you a special episode next week from our destination that we'll be in for our anniversary. We'll give you a little anniversary episode and just share love, because that's what we're all about. All right, so you all, as always, as I like to say, be blessed. I'll catch you the next time. Well, everyone, I hope you took some good notes and have at least one action you will take to propel your life forward in pursuing your purpose. Let's get it. We can do all things through Christ who strengthens us. Now go conquer your day and don't let it conquer you. Until next time, peace and blessings.